And I should probably introduce what we're doing. I'm Vince White. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Ari Steinhorn.
And these are relevant current events brought to us by the Story Midwife of Linus and so many other projects. Um, and we're going to try this going forward. We're going to try it for a while, see how it's received. I think it's really valuable. Um, if nothing else, because it keeps me in the loop. Ari can teach me a great deal about the world at large. Um, so here
Cool.
we go.
All right.
Now, this
Let me
next
bring
one,
up the story list. Let's not waste your time.
We got a lot of stuff.
are you going to teach me about Blake Lively?
I am. I'm surprised you haven't been following. I mean, you're busy, but it's like everywhere online. You can't
So
get
I
away.
have like a confession, horrible
Yes,
confession.
confess.
I only know of Blake Lively through her husband, Ryan Reynolds,
Yeah,
because I watch Wrexham soccer and I find that whole situation to be hilarious. So she like appears in that, and I'm like, oh, that is also a famous person, but I don't know what she's done or anything like that.
yeah. She became really well known for being the main character in Gossip Girl. So this was like 15, like 10, 15 years ago.
Oh my God. Gossip Girl was my worst nightmare because I had at the time a teenage sister and she'd be like, let's watch Gossip Girl together. And Gossip Girl was just a show about underage girls sleeping with old men. That
Totally.
was the entire show. And I
Yeah.
would be flipping out and she'd be like, well, what's your problem? Like, obviously I'd want to do that. And I'm like, that man's a police officer or like a doctor. Like, what are you talking? Like the
It's
guy who played Schmidt, a new
argument,
girl, was like
like,
a cop womanizing like children. And I'm just like, why is this on TV? This is insane. Sorry.
yeah, it's sort of an argument for like bringing your kids outside of New York. Because it's like it was like Sex in the City, but they were like 15. Like, I
It hurt my soul.
mean,
It really
it
hurt my
was
soul at the
entertaining for
time.
me. Strangely, my dad, I watched it with my dad, who's like a super feminist, and he loved it.
Really? Uh-oh, you're frozen. Did I lose you?
My back?
You're back. You just got back.
Okay. Let me close some of my tabs.
So your dad liked Gossip Girl?
You liked Gossip Girl. Well, I like watched it with both of them because I think I was 18 at the time, 17 or 18.
That's
And
incredible.
when it came out, and yeah, it was just like a staple of my childhood. But looking back on it, it's like, what? These people were like, they couldn't even drive a car and they were like partying like drugs, older men, like all of that. But I guess, but yeah, so she was the like the like queen bee of that show. Serena
Oh,
was her name. And that's really where she became like
okay.
catapulted her. And then she was in a couple of other movies. Then she married Ryan Reynolds and they're like building this empire together.
It
And
is an empire. It's fascinating.
yeah, and then she starred in this film, It Ends With Us, that came out over the summer, which is at the heart of all of this controversy. Did you see the film?
I did not. Did you?
I did. I saw it in theaters. I liked it. Like it was entertaining, but it's like a strange blend of like romance, some violence, like domestic violence, but like subtle. Like the first, I don't want to like spoil too much, but the first half of the movie, you think the relationship is one way, and then you
Mm.
start to see what these like that like, oh, him like banging open the oven door isn't just him accidentally banging open the oven door through different eyes. You see that he like is purposefully like hitting the door against her, you know. So
Oh,
like the first scene, the first time you're seeing it, you can like chalk it up to like, oh, it's just him mistake, this is a mistake of his.
yeah.
But then you rewatch, then like the movie has, you see it through these different eyes, this different lens, and it's like, oh no, like he actually was violent with her.
Yeah.
So it's like a movie about that, and then she has her moment of like freeing herself from the relationship. And I think the controversy started when they were promoting the film and people were noticing that Blake Lively was doing her own promotion with the author of the book that it's based on, Colleen Hoover, and some of the other actors, like a lot of the other actors. They and Blake Lively were off doing their own thing. Justin Baldoni was doing his own thing, her promotion focused a lot on the like this is women's empowerment. Like, I'm gonna like sell you hair care, my hair care line, and like this is me in like a floral, colorful dress because this is about like joy and happiness and women. And he was like, I'm gonna focus on the domestic violence piece of this.
Oh,
So people, and they had a falling out before they started promoting, but they just started promoting it differently. People started to pick up on the fact that they were doing these separate promotions, and then all of this negative press about her started coming out. That she was like a bully, a mean girl, a diva. There was like a video that surfaced of her doing an interview while she was pregnant, being really passive aggressive to a reporter. So she kind of fit into that like mean girl stereotype. And everyone was like, Justin Baldoni's such a good guy. You know, he's promoting the important piece of this, that this is about domestic violence, and like she must have been awful to work with. And even in watching some of her interviews, I was like, I really don't love mean girls, and she seems like a mean girl. Like, there's no justification, no matter how you look, whether you're married to Ryan Reynolds. Like, I don't think there's a justification to just like be flippant or rude. At the same time, so I was thinking that over the summer. At the same time, like, it's hard. Like, how, like, she's a very powerful, famous, wealthy actress. And of course, people are going to be scrutinizing if she looks at you one way that's not like beaming at you. Does that mean she's rude? Does that mean she's a mean
right.
girl? You know, like,
Not her job to elevate your mood.
yeah, exactly. And so then fast forward to December, and the New York Times publishes a story about how she had filed a complaint in California, a sexual harassment and discrimination complaint against Justin Baldoni and some other people and his like production company, I believe. And it basically says that he made her feel uncomfortable on set. She was like pumping because she had just had a kid in her trailer, and he would like barge into the trailer while she was pumping.
Huh.
And that he just made it uncomfortable for her, that he was talking about her weight, and weight shaming her, and that he then created this PR smear campaign, and she subpoenaed to get text messages of this campaign.
Right.
And that he planted a number of different stories and also hired a social media expert to like I think what they probably hired the social media person to do is like unleash a troll farm, which is like real, like just people commenting, sometimes like with misspellings, with the same copy paste,
Yep.
like to basically boost content that was negative about her.
Yeah.
That comes out. Now he sued the New York Times for defamation. So there's a little long-winded, but that's the recap of the situation. It's a mess.
Interesting. So he sued the Times, but not Blake Lively.
His lawyer says that he intends to sue Blake Lively and your Wrexham guy, Ryan Reynolds.
Interesting. But a lot of what Blake Lively said was in a filing, which in most jurisdictions would be completely free from defamation claims, or nearly completely free from defamation claims.
Totally. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was in the complaint, and then she filed a lawsuit in New York. And then they got the lawsuit. His defamation lawsuit was claiming that some texts were taken out of context. So like he would say, you know, like they were talking about some Daily Mail article about Blake Lively that was super negative. And they alleged that the New York Times made it seem like they planted the Daily Mail piece, but in fact, the Daily Mail piece was organic. So they're like, see, it was more organic than we thought. But then like other text messages you can't take out of context, because they're literally like, we want to bury her. He wants to bury her.
Yeah.
Like, how do you take that out of context? Like,
Seems a little unclear, a little ambiguous. What do we mean by that?
yeah, right?
Interesting.
So, but I think it's people, like, I posted a TikTok about this, and people like jumped on me because I said exactly what you said about how I don't think it will be like a hard case for the New York Times, just because
Yeah.
they're citing court filings, and like people were just like, number one, spewing like completely inaccurate stuff. They're like, well, like it has to be a lawsuit. It can't, a court filing is not a lawsuit. Like just it was
Yeah.
all people are just like jumbled and just so willing to hate her. And again, like I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts on this are. I don't love like mean girls in the workplace. Like but there's a difference between like, and it's so hard for women when it's like, are you blunt or are you being like awful and bullying
Yeah.
people? And like who is the receiver of that? And like how do you draw the line?
I don't know. I get to walk around in my life and have like low social skills and be blunt and abrupt. And like, I suspect if I was a woman, people would hate me for that. I walk around as I am, and people are like, oh, he's a bull or he's on the spectrum or whatever it is, they think about me. Um,
Right.
and the people are just like, that's a guy. He's being a guy. And, it's just like people let me get away with it nonstop. If I was a pretty woman, probably be crucified. Right.
Right. Totally.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I certainly
There's
commiserate. I mean, nobody likes a jerk, but you are allowed to be one if
totally.
you want to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's like if she were a man, I mean, I just don't like if a man were like demanding a different wardrobe or something. I don't know, like because that's what they're claiming she's doing. That she's like, I want this specific wardrobe, and she was making it, more difficult and being sort of like this diva. But I just feel like that's not grounds for like canceling someone at all.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
you think of all the male actors who do wild things, who get in fist fights with paparazzi. Nobody's ever like, I hate that dude. A lot of people are like, that dude's kind of awesome. Like
Totally.
it's just a complete double standard. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that lawsuit against the Times sounds like junk.
What do you think about her sexual harassment lawsuit from what I've told you? I think he's claiming that she is like weaponizing and twisting certain situations that she was previously okay with. Like she apparently like invited them into her trailer at times. So they're like, well, it's not the same as like barging in while she's pumping and like staying there and gawking at her like chest. But
Yeah.
so like, what do you think about that?
So I heard that argument, but
Yeah.
my understanding is the original filing includes it. The only reason I know this, somebody asked me about it. The original filing includes her saying that he came into her trailer. She asked him to leave because she was pumping and she was, bare chested, and he declined.
Yeah.
That, like, if somebody's like, he made me uncomfortable, my answer is always gonna be like, yeah, okay, tell me how. That's a
Yeah.
really good how. That's like a really good, like, oh, you felt uncomfortable, you stated such, and he was like, no, I don't care about your boundaries. Let's
Right.
sign me up. I'll take that case any day of the week, right? Like 100%.
Right. Totally.
If that's the allegation, there's no, you don't weaponize. There's nothing ambiguous about, hey, I'm half naked. Could you leave? No.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, we're verging on like an assault at that point in my
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah. For sure. So we'll see. I think his lawsuits against her and Ryan Reynolds are coming out at some point.
Why Reynolds?
I think because he took like a role in the film, and I think his like Justin Baldoni's grievance initially was sort of like a power struggle between like Blake wanted it one way, Justin wanted it one way. He was directing at one point. Apparently, Ryan Reynolds came in and did like a rewrite of something where he
Oh,
was like, involved in the creative process and was just like very involved. Um, so I think maybe he's gonna maybe he thinks Ryan Reynolds is defaming him or that like he was being difficult to work with. I don't know, but it's so silly. I feel like it's just like it almost is. I feel like everything these days has become this side or that side. It's like your team Blake or team Justin. And it's like,
yeah.
uh, is it really about those two people? Like, we don't know these people. What is it about for people?
You don't do any disaster response work, do you?
I don't, but I do sometimes crisis like PR and management,
Yeah.
but not
I-
like on the ground. Yeah.
This seems to me like dueling crisis management teams almost. Like it's just two crisis teams selling some very wealthy, very silly people on like an escalating war. And I feel like the two teams are meeting over drinks, being like, I can't believe we got them to file lawsuits now. Like,
I know.
I don't know.
It's true. It's like sometimes it is like the lawyers get like the lawyer. I mean, I respect what you do and I respect so many lawyers
It's
so
okay.
much.
You don't have to say
I
that.
do. But also like lawyers get the last laugh because it's like human nature is just going to be human nature and you have to have someone to come in and like figure it out for you.